Cool. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. How many people are here for the first time today? Lies, lies, lies from you. Okay, well, welcome all you new attendees. If this is your first time, just remember that you can tweet along with the program at 1 Million Cups KC or using the hashtag 1MC or 1MCKC. So I'm Melissa Roberts. This is Brian Ozorski, Jason Kerrigan, and Nate Olson. Taylor Brown, and all the great staff here at the Kauffman Foundation. We work together to bring you 1 Million Cups every week. So this is a weekly educational program where we bring you the stories of two entrepreneurs, usually local, sometimes now that we're growing from around the country from our other chapters. We're now in 34 cities across the country. But we talk about their entrepreneurial journey, some of the challenges that they've faced, things that you can learn from them and that they can learn from you. And then we have a 20-minute Q&A and brainstorming session to help them solve the problems that they're facing right now with their business. So without further ado, I want to introduce our first presenter. We've got Chris and Susan from YurJURY.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for having us, and I'm going to go really quickly here. I'm Susan Lucas. I am the co-founder of YurJURY and head of operations. This is my husband, Chris. It was his original idea. This is Ron Shockley. He's branding. And then over there is our business development person, Jim. So let me tell you a little bit about how we got started. We had a teenage daughter, surprise, surprise, get in a car accident down on the plaza. She wanted to know why we couldn't sue the person even though she was at fault. So we started talking about the law. The law's the law. This is the emotional side. Go ahead. Now I'll let Chris go ahead and continue.
Why don't you
Flip.
What YurJURY is basically a venue for attorneys and claims adjusters to pre-litigate their cases, kind of give an x-ray of their case, kind of akin to a surgeon taking an x-ray. You wouldn't want to go through surgery without an x-ray. Well, we claim that you wouldn't want to go through handling a case without pre-litigating it, kind of seeing what the issues are in front of you. So this is how it works. We hope. Basically what happens is the attorney will download their case to us. They'll have the brief of the case, and then they'll have evidence of the case. We'll give them an opportunity to give 10, 15 questions for the jurors. So what'll happen is they'll download the case to us. We go and we find 10 jurors in the jurisdiction that they're in, or that they want to test in. And those jurors online, like an online panelist, will review the case. We'll review the evidence. We'll then go into a chat room, and they will deliberate the case. They're not sitting there all at once. They're not meant to be there at one time. They can do this any time of the day, at night. So they will deliberate on the case as it goes. The attorney has the opportunity to go into the deliberation room and ask questions, move them around, respond to some of their questions, anything that he wants to do. So at the end, right here, you're looking at the actual presentation of the brief from the attorney. Why don't you go to the questions? That's the deliberate. Okay, so the attorney he has the opportunity. These are all questions from the attorney of the jurors, and they answer those, and we database that we store all these. Then go to the deliberation room. Okay, here's the deliberation room. They're posting. We start them off, or the attorney starts them off the questions, kind of get them rolling. We have monitors also that are in here that keep, in case the attorney isn't available, or just for monitoring purposes. We have monitors in there that push it along, maybe answer some questions that are not so legal, but more technical within the system. And then they deliberate. And as you can see here, we had, I don't know if this is, so we had 63 comments. And I think a total of 90 comments in 3 days. The attorney was just blown out. I mean, he just loved it. He changed, this attorney was a premier attorney in Kansas City. He changed the way he actually litigated this case, actually on just a few of these representations here in this deliberation room. He loves it. So once there's about 3 to 5 days, depending on the length of the case. The jurors, we normally say the jurors take about an hour to do it in total. At the end of about 5 days, they will get a report with all the deliberations, all the questions and answers, the juror pool, and then what we call diagnostics of the case. We'll pick out some interesting facts and that they have in the questions. We may, the juror, then we'll show kind of the juror pool. There's 5 women, 5 men, that kind of thing. But we generally let the attorney do that because that's kind of his job. So that's basically what it is. I'm not ready to open it up for questions. Well, one other thing, where we're heading this in the future is what we're doing is, like I said earlier, we're databasing all this information, everything. So what we're doing is, I'm saying about 2 years down the road, as we're getting into each market, we're planning to go national, doing Kansas City first. But after about 2 years, we're going to populate a database. And that database will look very similar to Westlaw's database. Westlaw is basically the law. This will be factual issues. So when an attorney wants to see what his claim is worth, or maybe what an issue does in a certain jurisdiction, he can go to this database and pull up by issue, by case, by whatever, to find out what the value of the case. So we're looking at the one and only database of this kind. You can't find these things. There's no place that we have claims, lower court cases in one database. So that's where we're headed. Then after that, we're hooking up with an attorney out of Pittsburgh called Kevin Ashley. He's going to put an AI app behind this. So that's kind of where we're headed in the future. I think we can open it up.
Great, thank you. Questions? Okay, we'll be right there.
Beat you to it.
So the questions on all the communication with attorneys or the jurors or whoever is involved in this process, is this considered privileged, although there is no agreement?
Yes, it's all work product. It's privileged. It's secured. It's just between them and the attorney. So it is their work product. It is privileged. All the jurors sign confidentiality agreements. And if we need to, some attorneys may want to do their own confidentiality agreements. We're open to that too. So yes, it is. That's been tested by the In Re Sedant case. So I hope that's the right site, but I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay, question here in the center.
All right, I don't know a lot about the legal system, but is this similar to a mock jury type information? And do you have any competitors?
There's a few competitors out there. They don't have the vision. They don't have the way we do the jurors. I don't believe they have the database. And obviously no. I mean, I've talked to 100, 200 attorneys, and there may be 4 that have come up with this other company.
The answer is yes,
blowing them out of the water.
It's a mock trial. Yes, it is. It's just more affordable.
Mock trial goes a little bit further. They actually bring people in, so it's a little bit more, a lot more expensive. $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, depending on what you do with your mock trial, how long you do it. So this is, we're going to prove that this does better than that. We'll prove it in a matter of no time. The attorneys love it, and they love it.
We have a question over here to your left.
How do you pick the jurors?
I'm sorry?
How do you pick the jurors?
The jurors, there's a number of ways that we procure them. We like to keep that somewhat confidential. There's competitors out here because we think that's kind of the premier, what we have. But we pick them at random in that pool. So that pool is picked very similarly to how they do it in the jurisdiction, which is by driver's license and voter registration. They're compensated $15 cash, Check. Per case.
Our competitor is a $5 gift card to Amazon.
Got a question in the center here for you.
So this is a great idea, but one of the things I can see being somewhat of a problem is kind of a critical mass of A, lawyers who need help, and B, jurors who can support this. And you also said after each case is deliberated, there will be some diagnostic. So who is kind of running that process? At what point will you say, hey, this is too many cases? So how do you plan to scale up from where you are to, let's say, 1,000 cases?
What we're working, there's two things we need to do is, the very first thing we need to do is we need to build this is actually a prototype here. So we want that actual site to do, it can do about everything that we're doing now. So that's kind of where we're headed. We've got a couple of developers that we've talked to that can do that, but we're planning on scaling it that way because right now I'm doing it.
And I'm doing
I
it.
can't. We figure
Our team.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the diagnostics and stuff, I'm doing it. Susan's doing a lot of the operations. Obviously, Jim is selling. He's nationwide, but obviously we're gonna have to have some there. And Ron is taking care of a lot of the jurors. So when we start getting into a lot of jurisdictions and stuff, yeah, we're gonna need the help of that.
Got a question for you all the way back here.
Yeah, I think I like this idea. I'm a guy that really doesn't favor attorneys too much, but anything to help the process. But can you tell me who's the plaintiff and who's the defendant? And are you doing this just for insurance cases?
This is open to anybody that has both sides, plaintiff, defendant. It's open to the individual. I mean, if an individual wants to run it and see what his case is worth and go to his attorney and help him kind of play on the same level as the attorney, he can do that too. So, I mean, this is open to everybody. This originally started when I wanted everything to settle. I wanted the courts, I mean, this is basically a deal to kind of free the courts up a little bit. That's what I first developed it for, was to get kind of the attorneys out of it and stop going to the trials. Trials spent about 43% of the cost of a trial is actual litigation.
So if you're a plaintiff in a case, can you use this to settle a case out of court?
We have, right now, what we've run so far, I'd say more than 75% of them use it for the settlement alone. That's what they originally get it for, but hey, if it doesn't settle, they have it.
It's kind of like everybody thinks that since somebody won $1 million getting burned by McDonald's coffee, that everybody's case is worth $1 million. We find a lot of attorneys are using it to bring their clients back to reality. You know, in Johnson County or in Jackson County, this particular case we've proven is only going to settle for this amount. Let's just go to arbitration and get it settled.
So it is for tort cases?
Yes.
It's for tort, contract, criminal. Anything that can be litigated, this will work.
And what's the cost?
The cost of this is $495. This can be used on any case you have.
And we do have a couple of insurance companies looking at it, some major players. So.
Got a question to your right.
So you guys have a two-sided problem. You have the jurors who are consumers, and you have the attorneys who are hiring you. Mm-hmm. What specific feedback have the attorneys told you as you've taken this to market?
Boy, it's all been Jim? I mean, I know you don't have, is there any negative, I mean, what have you heard most?
Positive, because they can focus on specific issues. I had an attorney that had 2 expert witnesses, and he wanted to videotape each one and send that out to the 10 jurors, and we had several attorneys tell me that sometimes it's difficult to control their clients' expectations, and so they've used that for that, and also strategy. A lot of times he has clients that have one strategy, and the attorney has another strategy, so it helps validate their opinion. But it's all been very positive, and every attorney we've met, they've passed on 2 or 3 other attorney names that thought they could utilize this service and see a lot of value with it.
We've been endorsed by some premier attorneys. We've been endorsed over a couple of networks that they use. I'm amazed myself. I thought I'd get some pushback from attorneys, but really there hasn't been any, and the jurors love it. I mean, you can go on our Facebook page. You can see the jurors' comments. They love it. So.
We had a question here in the middle.
So do you make any recommendations when the jury has deliberated?
We're not a legal service per se. We don't have, I don't show myself as a lawyer. I'm an entrepreneur. We let the attorneys do that. That's all them. I don't want to get into that. I mean, what we do is we show them the information, and they can take it from there. They know their case better than I do by far. So yeah, and like I said, they use it for issues. They use it 2 or 3 times a case. For a case, they use it before and after evidence to narrow or to expand their evidence or narrow it down. For mediation, to narrow down the mediation. We're talking to mediators right now. I mean, literally, the sky's the limit for this thing. I mean, it's really amazing. And the key is the jurors. I mean, you've got to have a juror pool that's engaged, and if you go to some of the other competitors, they're not. It's terrible. And we've found a way to make that happen. And you can pull up any of ours, and they're engaged, and the attorneys love it.
It's amazing how much time people will spend for $15 because we put them through quite a process to make sure that they're going to be engaged and we get value to give back to the attorney. We don't want somebody to go on and say, yes, I agree, no, I don't agree. We want them to go in and deliberate just as if they were, in that deliberation room.
We have another question here in the middle.
So do you get both sides of the parties, the plaintiff and the defendant, to present their cases? Or if you don't get both sides, how do you present the other side if you only have one participant?
I first developed this as the attorney would give both sides. That's how I initially thought about it. What we're finding is that the attorney will either do that, or he'll gear his representation to what he wants out of it. So he may go bland at some times. He may goad him at some times. He may leave some stuff out. I mean, it's just talking to these attorneys is amazing what they do with this thing. So, but it also can be opposing sides if you want it. We can do that too. Haven't done it yet, but it's out there. Yeah.
Most of the attorneys are giving us the depositions from the opposite side, washed, of course, so that they can present both sides.
We have, 14 clients? And the hurdle is getting the attorney to do the brief. So we found a way to kind of coax them along. They love it, but when you go and you make your sale, you can't take anything back. You're not taking anything out and putting it in your pocket. So they've got to work this thing up, and they got to do it right, because if they're going to spend $500, they want to make sure it's right. And attorneys, they don't slop stuff together. So it takes time. So we found a way to kind of make that happen. So that was an issue that we're still playing around, as a matter of fact. So, but that's probably the biggest thing. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a question over here from the Twitter feed. Hi.
Yes.
So I'm going to continue on that gentleman's question, and the Twitter feed really wants to know, okay, it sounds like you've got a ton of customers and things are going really well. What are the challenges that you've faced? What are some things that you've been surprised by, some things that you've overcome that maybe somebody here can learn from?
The biggest challenge is, at least, I guess, from what I just said. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I've been involved with other companies, and Jim's been involved in a lot. Susan's been involved in a lot. But it's the way to sell to a professional. So whether it's a doctor or a lawyer or a CPA or someone like that, they have their business, and it's hard to get them to move on stuff that they actually have to do something. Whereas a doctor, you go in and sell them a drug, they take the drug, they put it in their cabinet. But if you're wanting a doctor or a lawyer or someone to do something, they have to actually get up and do something and prepare. It's tough to even though they love it and so on, it's tough to get that pipeline built up. Is that fair to say? The reports?
Yeah, our obstacles have been a lot on the IT side, converting evidence, things like that to upload. We now can pretty much do anything, but that's been our biggest challenge.
What we would like to, actually what I would love to see is I'd love to see, and a lot of people told me that it's hard to do, but I would love to see it grow from the ground up. So I'd like to see people like you and the public go to your attorneys and say, listen, I want this used. I want you to know what's ahead of you. I want to try to settle this thing. I would love to see that happen. That's what I'm kind of working on right now through social media and stuff like that. And then we're also working from the top down. We're going to some of the premier law firms and stuff, and it's going great. But I would love to see it to where the people, I'd love to see it where it's like an x-ray. If you go into a doctor and you have a broken arm, you don't want the doctor to do the x-ray. And that's what I'd love to see.
Got another question for you in the center.
I've actually participated in 2 different mock trials over the years.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I found the most disturbing was the consensus of jurors were just in a hurry to get in and out of there.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And came down to like a rash decision of a consensus of who spoke the loudest and who held. So how much time do these jurors have to decide on what they believe that the trial would be? And then secondly, I think you touched upon this just briefly, but just to get a little better definitive answer, once the jury has decided, and let's say they can't mediate, they can't bargain, and you do go to trial, can all of this be used in the actual trial to help present the case?
Let me start with your first one.
Okay.
Actually, you brought out a great point. It's a great selling point for us. These people are on their own, and they're doing this on their free time. They're not pushed. They're voluntary. They're not having to be fed, so they're not worrying about that. They're getting paid relatively more than the $75 for 15 for, so we get by all that. That's why they love it. But you're right, mock trials, what you find people just whatever, just get me out of here. I want my $75. I want to eat. I want out of here. That's what happens. That's why mock trials. I'm telling you, this will be the way to go. This will work. There's some issues, but you're 95% there. I mean, even an X-ray doesn't. When you talk to a doctor, he says, "Well, I have an X-ray." Well, we'll know when we get in there. Even an X-ray is 100%.
We've only had to replace one juror for kind of going off in a wrong direction. We will yank them and replace them with another one.
And I'm sorry, what was
They have about 5 days also to deliberate a case.
Was that your
turnaround time is about 7 days for the report to the attorney.
Was that your second question? I'm sorry. This was generally used. This is a work product, so this is information to him. There's nothing in there that he will present at trial. Nothing. He wouldn't want to. He may present it at a mediation and say, listen, we had 10 jurors and 9 of them said this. That's what works with this. Mediations, it'll work. But trials, he won't present any of this at trial. He'll use it to determine what kind of evidence, what issues are out there, how to argue the issues, how to solve issues, when to put evidence in, how to prepare all of his evidence and his jury directive, all that stuff he can use for this. We've had attorneys do all of it. It's kind of amazing.
We have a question over here to your left.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
Hope I didn't miss this aspect or ask a silly question.
You're fine. Go ahead.
How's the juror selection process go?
What we do is we have a number of ways and organizations and means of procuring the jurors to make sure that they're a representative sample, just like you get in any jurisdiction in the country, mainly by driver's license and draft. What am I thinking?
Voters registration.
Voter registration. I'm sorry. And so they are. And what we're doing also is we're following these cases through. I'm laughing at myself. Okay, so we're following this through, and we follow all through trial. If it goes, we file it through mediation. If it goes there, and again, we store it. We're going to be comparing this against itself and against other cases similar to make sure that we do have, you know, a good product.
As a matter of fact, one of the insurance companies that we're dealing with are looking into possibly using this on something that's already settled out of state to see how it would have turned out differently.
I've got to say one. This is wonderful. We had an insurance company that we talked to their attorney. He was one of their main attorneys that did one of their major cases. He did all their major cases, million and above. So he went to Detroit. There was a wrongful death case in Detroit, and he relied on his local attorney to kind of run the case up in Detroit. So they didn't do anything. So they assumed that this case was $1 million case. So they assumed. So at the steps, they offered him a bracket of $2 million, $5.5 million, which means if it's lower than $2 million, you get your $2 million, plaintiff. If it's higher than $5 million, plaintiff only gets $5 million. They were offered that at the steps. The attorney did not. They turned it down. They took it to trial, and it turned in a $9 million case. If they would have used this, we're going to show them. We're working on it right now. They would have saved $4 million for $500. They would save $4 million.
So that's
I don't know what a bigger. I mean, that's sales right there. I mean, I don't know what you'd want.
So this is how quickly this can go national for us, because this is an attorney out of Detroit that, you know, it's a case out of Detroit. We've got somebody in Pittsburgh looking at it, and we need the help with focusing the growth and how do we handle all that. And that's our biggest challenge right now is, you know, getting too big too quick.
A lot of law firms are they're 3 or 4 cities wide, so we have that issue. We're talking to one now in San Francisco. They're talking about a San Francisco case. So it's kind of hard to kind of keep it captive here. But in theory, I mean, I can get jurors in any jurisdiction. Doesn't really matter. It's the same process.
What is good about the growth, hold on a second, is that we will be employing people here in Kansas City because we will be needing more people to help manage, to get the cases in, to do all the things that we need to do. So that is one good thing, is we're seeing that we are going to have some growth within the city, and that's what we wanted. We wanted to see some growth here in Kansas.
We're working now with UMKC.
Missouri.
Yeah, working now with UMKC School of Law to have their litigators and their litigating team to do the monitoring. So we're trying to get everybody involved.
Chris, Susan, thank you so much. Before you go, you've got several hundred people here in front of you. Besides us trying to stay out of trouble, what can we do for you as a community?
Again, I would like to see, go to the Facebook page, go to the site, and if you have an attorney, talk to him. Friends, let them know we're here. We need jurors, so we'd love to have you all as jurors. So just go to the site and sign up. But the main thing, I just loved it. Let's get it out. Let's tie down this Kansas City market so every attorney knows and knows that we're here.
And if you're an expert in growth management, you need the help.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. We've got a couple live announcements for you today, but we also have some information about SBA, what is it called, week? SBA Entrepreneurship Week? I'm sorry. National Small Business Week. Got to be for that. So please look at your seats for the flyers on that. First, I'd like to bring up Wendy Torrance from the entrepreneurship team here at Kaufman, and she's got a quick announcement for you.
Good morning. Great to see you all here today. I'm excited to let you know today that we're launching a new series on Kaufman Founders School, which is the Foundation's online educational resource, free, I might add, for entrepreneurs, their mentors, and educators of entrepreneurs. So I wanted to show you the introduction to our entrepreneurial marketing series, which features Anita Newton, who's been a leader in marketing at Sprint and AMC Theaters and works with startups right here in Kansas City. So here's Anita.
I've spent my career in marketing. Along the way, I've had the great fortune of managing $1 billion advertising budgets, and I've also tried to stretch $1,000 for the entire year. I've worked with Fortune 500 brands and build it in your basement startups. I've negotiated deals with the NFL, Oprah, and every major network. And as I've worked with companies both large and small, what I realized in terms of marketing, certain patterns emerged. I created this framework to help make sense of the many marketing activities and tactics you can choose, with the goal of building brand awareness, generating interest, and growing sales in the marketplace. My name is Anita Newton. I'm a marketer, and I help companies grow. I see companies fail because they don't spend the upfront time really understanding who is their customer, what problem are they really solving. Unlike 10 years ago where you had to have a big budget and an army of people, today all you need is a really good product that meets a customer need, a few people who are smart, willing to hustle, and some basic marketing tactics, and you can take over the world.
So Anita's series contains 6 lessons that cover what she calls the quad marketing framework that walks you through the steps that you need to take to develop and execute, evaluate, and codify a sound marketing strategy. That will be launching tomorrow on kaufmanfounderschool.org, and you can follow us at KaufmanFS. On Tuesday morning next week at 8:30 in Labs, we will be hosting Neil Patel, who's the co-founder of Kissmetrics and Crazy Egg, who will be talking about his own entrepreneurial journey and digital marketing in particular. Later that afternoon, he'll be filming with us a new module that will be added to Anita's series in the coming months that looks at digital marketing and data. So we invite you to join us. There'll be an announcement up on Eventbrite and the Kaufman Labs website for Neil Patel on Tuesday morning. So look for both of these events and look forward to having you join us. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Great resources. There's a new concept in town called Lift with a Y. Don't ask why. And we've got Christian here to tell us about it.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First off, I'd like to say thank you to Melissa and 1 Million Cups for allowing me to come up here this morning. I was here 3 weeks ago, and I do not think the room was this crowded, so this is quite possibly the most exciting thing I've seen. This just goes to tell you how 1 Million Cups has grown over the last 2 years, and they're probably going to need overflow next week, right, Melissa? The what? The saucer, apparently. This is just amazing to see how many people come here every week and how it's grown so much. But as I mentioned, my name is Christian Larwood. I work for a company called Lyft based out of San Francisco. For the past 6 months, I've been traveling all over the Midwest and I've been living in different cities. Before this, I was in Cincinnati for 5 weeks, and now I've been in Kansas City for a month now, actually. And I am honestly so excited to see what's going on here. And out of any city I've been in, Kansas City has the most exciting and the most energy I've seen in terms of creating new ideas and building new companies. Think Big, Co-working Waldo, Sprint Excel, all these amazing co-working spaces, as well as all the incredible companies that come up here every single week. I can't tell you how it puts the biggest smile on my face when I meet people that are really doing incredible things right here in your city. Yeah. 3 years ago, I know that Kansas City started the Big 5 initiative with the goal of making Kansas City one of the best places to live and one of the best places to work, to create a business, to grow that business, and to succeed. Lyft launched here 6 days ago. We are an app-based transportation company, which basically means that we're an on-demand ride-sharing service. What this means is that you can request a car to come pick you up and take you anywhere you want to go within the greater Kansas City area, all the way as far as Blue Springs, all the way south is Olathe, and all the way north is the airport. We're fun, affordable, and by far and large, I believe that we are the safest option for you to get around this city and explore Kansas City. And that's why I'm here today, is to ask for your support. 6 days ago, we launched. We released a petition. We have over 1,700 signatures, which just goes to tell you how much Kansas Cityans support this service. So that link will be tweeted out eventually, but it's exciting to see how your city and you all have embraced this new form of transportation.
Great, thank you, Christian. We've got a new presentation we got to move on to, so thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Moving right along, we've got Maureen Welsh with My Strategic Shopping, and she's here to share her small business with us. Here you go.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me be here. I'm very humbled by this. I'm usually surrounded by little kids and wearing sweats, so this is exciting for me. Scissors are is the tool that most families are using right now to save money on groceries. My name is Maureen Welsh. I'm founder of My Strategic Shopping. I'm looking to change that. With my mobile grocery savings program, I'm helping families cut the time they spend on groceries, cut the cost that they spend on groceries, without having to cut any coupons. But before I get to the what and the how of my program, I want to talk about the why and the who I am and why I started this program. In my former life, I was a litigation attorney for 12 years, mostly with a very large law firm in Phoenix, Arizona. And during that time, I had 4 kids and was raising them. And we got some great news about 4 years ago that we were able to move back to the Midwest, Overland Park. And that's when I took on my second career as a stay-at-home mom. I had 1 child in school, and I had 3 at home, ages 4 and under. So I did what most stay-at-home moms do. I got out of the house. And so I hung out at Blue Valley Rec, I did the mommy classes, I did the play groups, and while I was there, I would talk to the moms about what we were all experiencing. Our lack of time, our lack of money, and just our lack of sanity. And, but a lot of the times it did turn to food and groceries. And I, at that point, had been price matching groceries for about 8 years. And so I would tell them about this, that price matching is where you can get all of the surrounding grocery store sales, Price Chopper, Hy-Vee, Aldi, at one store in one shopping trip, and you're done. And it saves you an immense amount of money because you get to cherry pick the best sales. And the responses I normally got were 2. 1, I don't really understand what price matching is. And 2, if I do understand it, I don't have the time to sit down and go through all the flyers and figure out the best sales and make my list. So that's when I had my aha moment, and I came up with my why. I wanted to share the savings that I was achieving with price matching with these other moms. I wanted to save them the time and the money. And another great benefit is that price matching really allows you to afford healthy food, which has been at the forefront, really, for the last 5 years with mothers and children and obesity. So now let's get to the what. What does my program offer? As I mentioned, the biggest attraction is the price match grocery list that I offer, and that is membership-based. My website is part membership-based, and then I do offer free resources. So what I do every week is I load the best grocery sales in the surrounding area in one large grocery cart. And then my members, for a small fee, go in and personalize their list, choosing the items that are specific to their family's needs. And they take that list and they save an average of 30% on those groceries, not to mention the huge amount of time of not having to research and not having to go through the flyers. Another paid portion of my website are the written tutorials. Doing this for 13 years, I have tried just about every single savings portion or thing there is out there, and I came down with about 10 points that I feel really work. So what I did is I wrote a tutorial on each of those points for my members to go through. It includes price matching, coupons, how to use a price book, how to make a workable grocery budget, when to buy store brands, and other lifestyle changes that they can do in order to save money. My free portions on the website, I do have video tutorials that teach people how to price match. I truly believe this is an underutilized shopping strategy, and I want to get the word out on what it is and how easy it really is to do it. So I have video tutorials that define what price matching is and actually take you on a trip with me to Walmart and shows you how I do it. I also do grocery saving blogs every week, and I have free resources on there. All the store circulars are on there, coupons, store policy, so anything you need. So how does it work? It is membership based, and so the first 4 weeks are free. I want people to understand how to do it and give them time to actually use it. After that, it's $1.25 a week, and it's billed quarterly, and my members can cancel at any time. When you first become a member, what you want to do is sign up and create your shopper profile. Because one of the tenets of price matching is it has to be a competitor store, you have to make sure you're staying within that competitor's geographical location. What your store where you're pricing at considers it to be a competitor. So the first thing you're going to do is fill out what stores you can use, whose sales you can price match. Once you do that, you're provided the cart. And this provides all the sales. It defaults to all departments, alphabetically organized, but you can search specifically by a department or by an item. And it gives you the price match price, which is your sale price, the price match store. It also provides your savings, what you're saving, the percentage of savings, as well as the retail price, so you can see what the power is of that specific sale. That also indicates you might want to stock up on something. Under the coupon section, I also provide coupon matchups from the Sunday circular, as well as any other information you need to know if it's for a limited period of time or if there's a limit quantity on that sale. Then after that, you simply print your list, or you take it on your phone. You can make your list on your phone, and then you shop with it. And checking out is easy as simply telling the cashier that the Post cereal is $1.99 at Walgreens when it retails for $3.24. So the local impact has been I've gotten great feedback. Members are saving time, they're saving money, an average of 30%. And in the 4 months that I have been mobile, my members have saved over $38,000 price matching their groceries. So I am out of time, so I will let you know where I've been. Basically, I started a Facebook business page in 2011, launched my KC strategic shopping in 2011, and then went mobile in 2013. And where I'm going, I'm in Kansas and Missouri right now. I'm looking to go to Nebraska in the fall and Oklahoma in the spring.
Great, thank you, Maureen. Questions? There's one in the back, Nate.
I don't see it.
You see it on the left.
There's one.
It's $1.25. After the 4-week free trial, it's $1.25 per week, and it's charged on a quarterly basis. So every 12 weeks, you will see a charge on the credit card for $15. And most of my members, if they use it consistently, they will actually pay for the equivalent of a year's membership within that first 4-week trial. So it basically pays for itself in that first month.
I have another question for you in the back.
You mentioned Walmart a couple of times within the stores that you price. What other stores besides Walmart do you utilize? Do you utilize Target? Maybe some of the other stores besides Walmart?
Walmart is where I recommend my members shop with their list because it allows them to use the entire list. Target does price match, but the restrictions on their price match policy really take out the reason for price matching. They don't price match stores that require a club card, so that takes out Hen House and Price Chopper, CVS, Walgreens. They have a lot of restrictions on there. So to maximize your savings and the time efficiency, I recommend price matching at Walmart. They also do not require, Walmart does not require that you show the flyers. So that's why you can go with your paper list, you can go with your phone, and so it's a very easy, efficient process by doing it there.
Got a question to your right.
Hey, Maureen, how are you?
Good, how are you? Good
Great
morning.
presentation.
Thank you.
As you know, I'm one of the co-founders of the Cash Mob, and one of our focuses is to get people to shop at mom and pop shops. So do you have any partnerships with any of the mom and pop shops in the area as far as discounts and things of that nature?
Not right now. I am strictly grocery shopping, and so that kind of takes out a lot of the mom and pops. And so I just basically put together the price match grocery list and then let people choose where they want to shop. You can isolate the list and just isolate it by Price Chopper sales or Hy-Vee sales or Sprout sales and find it that way and then go shopping at that store if you want to.
Is there any, I guess, direction in your future to kind of broaden it as opposed to just doing grocery stores and doing just retail, period?
No, that was the one thing I really wanted to focus on. Going back on my slides. Here we go. I really wanted to become a grocery expert. I didn't want to spread myself thin. I wanted to make sure that I could focus on one thing. So I've really tried to make a presence in the community. And so I do local television segments. I have articles in the lifestyle magazines. I teach grocery saving classes at Blue Valley Rec. My focus is really to stay on groceries so I can be an expert and stay on top of what's going on with that. I also do a lot of speaking of supporting the local mom and pop shops, I do a lot of nonprofit, work with a lot of nonprofit programs because I think this is a critical issue, affording healthy food. So I have presented my programs at Harvesters. I work with the women at Safe Home, a domestic abuse shelter, the kids at Kids TLC, transitioning to living on their own. I do a lot of work with Johnson County Human Services with their food pantry clients. I'm passionate about teaching. I'm passionate about letting people know that you don't have to spend an immense amount of time in order to feed your kids healthy food.
Maureen, I have a question for you all the way in the back.
Oh, there you are.
Hi, Maureen. Hey, I'm curious, as I see you're moving out to 3 other states at this point, what are the barriers to you rolling this out on a nationwide scale? Are you currently doing this work yourself, or do you set regional managers in place, or how does that function?
Presently, I am, me, myself, and I. But when I do move up to Nebraska, I will appoint a point person up there in each of my states that I move to so they can make sure that we're getting all of the local sales. Hy-Vee will put out a Casey insert. So up in Omaha, I need to make sure, and Lincoln, I need to make sure that I'm getting the Hy-Vee inserts that are local to that area. So I will hire one person in each area, but I will keep it, I'm not gonna franchise, I'm gonna keep control of it. I'm a control freak, I guess.
We have a question over here to your left.
Hi, Maureen.
Hi.
2 questions. One is, can you talk a little bit about your revenue model, specifically your choice on the price point? And I speak from a perspective of being potential customer. I've been reviewing other coupon, and I would have paid 3 times what you're charging, so I'm curious to why you have such a low cost entry point. Second question is I'm based in Portland, Oregon. 95% of the food consumption in my household is organic and gluten-free. And the reason I haven't chose a place is because I've been frustrated. A lot of these price savings are actually not healthy foods that I would bring into my household. So would this be a opportunity for someone who is focused on healthy food items? Could they also benefit from your service?
Oh, great questions. Okay, so the first one, price point. This was a new concept. So when I came out and tried to figure out what my price point would be, I have no business background. So I was thinking, I knew the value of it. If you work the system, I have members on, I'm now tracking, since we went mobile, I'm able to track my individual member savings. I have some members who have saved over hundreds of dollars already in just those 4 months. So I understand the value of it and that it is worth more subscription, but the problem is, and the problem that I encounter, and the challenge I should say, using positive words, the challenge is that I need to educate people on what this is and get them to use it. So I do have a very avid following who always say, Maureen, gosh, I would pay so much more for this service. But then I also have people I want to bring on board and educate them about it, and they don't want to pay the money, or maybe they just use it every so often. So I wanted to keep it affordable in order to attract people to come in. The second part of that is that I used basically other comparable services. So the menu meal planners, they charge $5 a month. So I tried to find services that provided sort of a comparable savings edge, that were using the same demographics, or that I would be attracting the same customer base to. When I started out, people thought I was coupons. So I actually got some backlash that I was charging at all. So there really was, my first year was basically me educating what I was doing, how I was separating myself from coupons that I was price matching and how they did it, and then the value that my members were receiving from it. So maybe I'll hike up my prices, but, but right now I think I'd like to stay where I am. On the healthy food part of it, I am a little restricted as to what Walmart will carry. They are branching out and providing more organics. So to that end, the organics still are a little low on there. We do have organic broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, and things like that. Sprouts just came in, so they're adding a lot of good sales that I can add to the price match list. So as Walmart expands its organic variety, I can add the organics. Gluten-free, I did a blog on that, how to eat gluten-free. So if you go on my website and you just put into the blog section, put gluten-free, and that blog will come up. But you can, because so many manufacturers now are understanding this and responding by creating gluten-free varieties to their conventional, itchy trigger figure, their conventional models, you can get, if Kellogg's cereal is on sale, you can get the gluten-free Rice Krispies. Or if General Mills Corn Chex is on sale, you can get the gluten-free Corn Chex variety. So there is a way to eat healthy and gluten-free affordably as well.
Maureen, we have a question here in the center.
Hi, I love your idea. I'm thinking about revenue models and maybe partnerships. When you talked about Walmart, that was like a fantastic pitch for Walmart. Do you think, what if you partnered with like a local, like a price chopper or something to steer traffic towards them, maybe list their thing higher? Like, I don't know, did you think about that as a revenue model? Almost like promoted tweets is kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I have thought about approaching one of the other local grocery stores. And so this year, the last 2 years, I've kind of been floating along. I started this because I really wanted to, teach. And now I really want to start this working as a business. And so I am trying to now get out there, get my name out there, and be seen. And so to get my foot in the door to a Price Chopper or to Hy-Vee, I'm hoping that this year, and that could be one of the connections maybe if someone has, to do that. Because I do think that this would be phenomenal. I am changing where and how people shop. And if you take, my membership and see that I'm driving revenue to a certain store, I think it would be smart of another grocery store. The only problem is groceries have such a low overhead that the reason Walmart and Target can do something like this is because they recapture their profits from the other things that they sell, such as clothes and stuff like that. So that would be the only challenge for the grocery stores that I would have to
I had a question for you in the center.
So this is not so much of a question as it is a kind of a suggestion or just my tech brains churning. So if you have a platform like this, right now I'm assuming you're in Kansas City because you're collecting this information manually and aggregating it together yourself. There's a lot of automation that I can see going down the path. A lot of APIs that you can leverage. So for example, I use some certain grocery list making apps that are free. There's a lot of stuff you can do in collaboration. You can pull out grocery list information from people's, My Recipe Box or allrecipe.com kind of stuff, and they don't even have to tell you what they want. You're able to pull out that information. So as you go forward, I highly recommend bringing on some really smart tech people just to look at the business and say, hey, where is there efficiency? Where can I automate? Because going state by state is great for now, but it won't be feasible, 6 months, 12 months down the line.
Right.
So,
I love that. I love that suggestion. Anything I can do. I went through a big automation with the loading and everything with my new website. I was KC Strategic Shopping for 2 years, and so now I'm My Strategic Shopping. I launched like 3 months ago, went mobile. So I put all the profits of mine back into what the members wanted. I got member feedback. I use this every week myself, and so things that I wanted to change. And so the more automation I can get, absolutely, because right now a lot of it is. On the other hand, I don't want to make it too automated because I like being in the grocery store every week. Every Wednesday, I go with my list. That's where I'm heading to Walmart dressed like this after this program, and compare the prices to make sure that these really are sales prices every week. So every Wednesday, I'm in there, and it's kind of like my continuing education class. I'm seeing that bacon just went up $1 in a week. I'm seeing that these marketing techniques that the stores are using, and so I blog about that. So automation is great. I just want to make sure that I keep grounded in what I want to do, which is to be able to teach people. And to continue to do that, I need to stay current with the grocery prices and what's going on in the grocery store.
We have a question back to your left.
Hey, Maureen, I think you're doing a great job. Competitively, I think this is probably a crowded market, don't you think?
Actually, it's there aren't many competitors. We've got the national competitors as far as apps go, but they don't do what I do. Here are the differences between the apps out there. One, they're national, so they don't have all of our stores. I do Riverside, Red X, Country Market, Apple Market, Rural, and Metro. So you're losing some good value there. Secondly, they don't do the comparison research that I do. If Hy-Vee has their watermelon on sale for $2.99 and Price Chopper has it for $4, and I know that Walmart is retailing it for $4.99, I put the Hy-Vee sale on there. With the grocery apps, you have to do that research yourself. They don't show you all of them side by side. You go to the Hy-Vee store, then you go to the Price Chopper store. So those apps don't take the research portion out, which is really the biggest time consumer and the deterrent for people using the price matching service. I think the average is 2 to 3 hours a week people spend combing through flyers, cutting coupons to save money.
Very good presentation. That wasn't my question, but
Sorry?
my question was, I'm intrigued that you used to be a litigation attorney. How did you get from that to what you're doing with mobile marketing now?
4 kids, having to feed 4 kids. People ask me.
You do a very good job of arguing.
Thank you. I have practice every day. People ask me if I miss the law. And I don't miss the law because what I loved about it was researching and finding these little things that I wanted to talk about or write about. And now I have that with grocery savings and what's going on in the grocery store. It might sound weird, and I don't even know why I have this, but I do. And so I take what I loved from my old job and I put it into what I love doing now, which is helping other moms. I've had a mom tell me that she's been with me from the get-go. She has 5 girls, and her husband's a police officer. She told me in her first year, she would put her extra savings for my strategic shopping in a Christmas fund, and she had over $1,000 at Christmas for her kids. I had another mom tell me that she didn't have to work weekend shifts because what she was saving offset that. And so when I hear stories like that, I get goosebumps, and I've had more professional satisfaction out of the last 2.5 years that I've been doing this than I really ever did as a litigation attorney. So it's been a blessing.
I've got a question here for you to your right.
First of all, I'd like to commend you. You've done an awesome presentation, awesome job. I like the fact you're specializing and not getting off your why, so that's really good. The question that I have, you talked about healthy foods, obesity, things like that. Are you getting with local health departments, anything like that, or researchers, or are you expanding into that world even more so that healthy food is the push behind what you're doing?
Yeah, in my networking, I love to meet with dietitians, with personal trainers. That's actually going to be on my ask list, is that I think the number one excuse or response that dietitians or anyone who is trying to get someone to eat healthier gets is that it's too expensive. It's too expensive to eat healthy, and so I have that solution for them. So yes, I would love to get more into the hospitals. I met about 3 weeks ago with a dietitian at one of the KU centers. I love it. She was on maternity leave. She had a little baby. I was there. I mean, it was like mom power. It was awesome. But anyway, so I am trying to get into that area and give them the resources, because I know they're frustrated with that response, and they don't have a response because you don't have coupons really for the produce and the things like that. So.
Thank you, Maureen. Before we end, it's time to ask, what can we as a community do for you?
Well, first of all, you've done a tremendous amount. Oops. Just by allowing me to be here, I feel validated. And that's hard to do as a working mom sitting in her office. So thank you for that. Just very common networking things that I would love for you to do is like my Facebook page and share it with others. You can follow me on Twitter at KCShopSmart. And refer friends and family who you think might benefit from this program. I don't just talk about price matching, I talk about all sorts of different grocery saving issues. So if you are interested in that, I would love for you to follow me and get involved. I would love, the one thing I love about networking is you never know what you can do to help someone until you sit down. So just by my presentation, if you think I can help you, or if you think you can help me and I just didn't ask specifically how or why, I would love for you to stop me and after the presentation and we can talk. Introduction into human resources departments in local hospitals, law firms, or schools. I would really love to reach the paralegals, the nurses, the teachers. Professions such as that where it's predominantly women-based who are stretched on their time limits. So if you know of anyone where I could come in and speak who have employee appreciation presentations, things like that, that would be wonderful. Introduction to registered dietitians would be wonderful. And then because I am moving up into Nebraska, if you have any connections or know anyone who I might be able to speak with within Omaha, that would be very much appreciated. But again, just being here has been great.
So you were prepared for my question. Thank you.
I was. I'm a lawyer. I can't get it out of my blood.
Well, great presentation. Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you. Thank you.